And like I say, also the thing about Germany too is that I didn't really know who to trust in a way when I was taking down Germany, when there were problems in Germany and there's this and that with Germany. Realistically, I didn't know who to trust. I didn't know if I could trust the American government or America because, like I say, I was hearing a lot of things like people would make statements and then they would be shot or they'd be killed before their statements would be recorded or something like that. So I was hearing a lot of things about Germany and I was hearing a lot of things where so I didn't know who I could trust. I didn't know if I could trust America or if I didn't know or if I could trust Russia. Like I didn't know. That's part of why I wanted Russia to take over half of whatever, and America or whatever to deal with the rest of Germany or something like that because I didn't really know who to trust. I didn't know if I could trust America or the American soldiers or if I could trust the Russians or the communists. Like I didn't know who to trust. I knew that somebody was lying to me about stuff, and so I figured, if I just divide it in half or whatever, or something like that, honestly. And realistically, I don't know. Maybe my soldiers are losing the war or something. I don't know. Anyway, though, and I could tell you about the Germans that actually left Germany and went up into Russia and were doing stuff in Russia and somewhere around there, and they actually brought forces or troops back down into Germany or something like that. I don't really know. But honestly, like I said, I just cared about the people. Like I said, and at some point in time, I even was paying. I believe I even paid mercenaries. I hired people to just go in and save the people and get them to safety, get them to warmth and food. I told my people, I said, just get them out of there, get them someplace safe, get them someplace with food, and I was willing to pay for it. And I say I didn't care. Same thing happened with Chernobyl. I just wanted it cleaned up. I mean, it's true that they were using prisoners and all this other stuff or something like that, but and I found out that they were actually like calling people prisoners that really weren't prisoners, like sending people there for like jaywalking and stuff like that. And I think I even told them, no, you have to tell them the risks. It has to be a volunteer thing, and this and that. And like I said, I didn't even want to use prisoners. I didn't even want to use people. I wanted, realistically, I didn't care about Chernobyl, but it was a problem. It was a problem for the rest of the world. So it had to be dealt with somehow. So anyway, and like I said, they weren't going to evacuate the city. I actually went against the board and I said, evacuate the city. It has to be evacuated. And they're like, why? Blah, blah, blah. It's nothing. It's nothing. And it's like, it's something. And like I said, lots of people went there and found out that the radiation level was really high. And it was in everything and everywhere. It was inside the buildings. It was down inside the basements. The radiation level was really high. It's still high. Some 50 years or 70 years later or something like that, it's still pretty damn high, and that's after they've tried to clean up everything and tried to bury all the radioactive stuff, radioactive material. They bulldozed the whole place, if I remember right. And they were even finding cars and steam engines that were radioactive in other places. Radiation's always been a problem. So anyway, there's all this information, all this stuff, and plus there's also the possibility of people popping up and shooting people in Chernobyl or Pripyat or something like that. Pripyat, I don't know. And even at some point in time, people were asking, are there underground tunnels underneath your cities, underneath the cities? And I was like, yeah, there are. Why? Most cities, almost all, it's just like Disneyland. Most of my cities are just like Disneyland. There's tunnels going here, there's tunnels going there. Like every embassy always had a back door. That's why the White House has a mine shaft and a back door and everything else like that. They all have doors and tunnels, because a lot of times, you have walls and everything else like that, but then they breach the walls. So, and they're coming in and it's like, where are you going to go? You got nowhere to go. So every single building had a secret exit So you go down inside the basement, and then you just open up this thing, and then you go down the tunnel and run, and you shut the door behind you, and it looks like just a wall, whatever. And then you run to the next building over, and then you get out through there. So a lot of my embassies, a lot of my buildings, a lot of my cities had tunnels and stuff like that. So in case the people stormed the embassy or whatever, you lock the doors and then you go down inside the tunnels. And that's why it's a funny thing. One of my embassies, the people that broke through the doors and went in actually said that no, they actually didn't kill anyone inside the embassy. They were already dead, and that it was actually the people that were escaping or leaving the embassy that actually had killed the people. And like I say, I believe the people. Other people are like blah 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 blah. They're blah 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 blah. It's like no, the rioters and the rioters were saying that actually they heard gunshots coming from inside the building, and that's why they stormed the building and got in there. It was because they heard the shooting from inside the building. So they stormed the building and broke in, and they said that no, they hadn't killed anyone, and actually and then people were shooting the crowd or something from the back. And some people were actually shot from the back, and they actually went through the forensics and presented that no, this building here, there were shooters in the building, and they were shooting at the crowd from behind the crowd, from the building behind it, behind the street. So anyway, like I say, I mean the Middle Easterns too. I mean everybody was like, I mean forensics and blah blah blah, and all these people wanted to prove their innocence and wanted to prove this and prove that. It's like, oh. They went through, and like I said, a lot of the people thought that you couldn't tell the difference whether a bullet went forward through the body or backward through the body. And it's like, no, that's not true at all. You can always tell. You can tell angle, deflection. You can tell which way a bullet travels through the body. Where it came from. It's all very easy to tell. Shock waves and all that other stuff. It rips and tears and does all kinds of damage. So some people thought that you couldn't tell. But you can. And it doesn't really, a Middle Eastern person can do the same forensic things that a German or a Chinese or a Russian can do. It's just science, technology, and information and stuff. So, a lot of these people were vindicated that it wasn't the crowd. The shooting actually came from inside things. And people were like, oh, they're terrorists, they're Middle Easterns. I was like, no, they're my people, they're people. And they were a victim too. It wasn't just the people inside the embassy that were a victim. The people outside the embassy were a victim too. All these, it was just government people or something like that, or people, I don't know. It's a bad situation. I always ordered investigations, and that's another thing. Even after I was dead, or even after I was gone, other people were doing investigations because they knew I wanted it. They knew, like I said, there were multiple, like 4 or 5 different investigations into Germany and what happened in Germany with Hitler and everything else like that. Multiple countries. I asked France to take a look at it. I asked America to take a look at it. I asked Russia to take a look at what happened in Germany during the war and everything. During every battle engagement, my own people take a look at it and see how the battle progressed and how it happened. It's how you learn about war and how you learn about situations. Was it a war? Was it a battle? Was it just a situation gone bad? It's kind of like, I mean, certain people probably wouldn't even care about it, but it's like, it's how you become an effective fighting team and effective everything. You always have to do that. It's called being a civilization and protecting your civilization. From some guys like, yeah, man, let's go. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't really matter now. It's all over with. But, I was paying, and you see, I was quite a rich man, being Lucifer Star Line. And, like I said, everyone thought that Lucifer Star Line, or Starline, was German. It's like, well, I did own Germany, but I wasn't actually German. I guess maybe it sounds German. Starline! Starline! I don't know. Does it sound German? Anyway, but that's my name basically. Is Lucifer Star Line. Always was. They used to call me. I was Little Lucifer before. I was supposed to become Big Lucifer or whatever, but I think maybe I changed my name to Brian. Just Brian. So, just It's my epic vacation or my existence thing. Anyway, whatever. Hmm? You know?